Well, once a week, Newt Gingrich drops by. You know him, a Fox News contributor, former Speaker of the House. He wrote that great book. It's called Vengeance, and he joins us live today. Mr. Speaker, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good to be with you all.
Hey, we've all been scratching our heads. We cannot figure out what Susan Rice was doing 15 minutes into the Trump administration on Inauguration Day when she wrote a memo to herself and emailed it, essentially saying that President Obama and other top law enforcement and FBI and DOJ people did everything by the book when it came to the Russia collusion meeting they had in the Oval Office 3 weeks earlier. What do you make of this?
Well, it may have been there for her to think that that would help protect her. It may have been there because someday she's going to write a memoir, and she just wanted to have it. Mm-hmm. First of all, I don't know that we ever heard from Comey, the former director of the FBI, that he had been briefing President Obama, that he'd been in these kind of meetings. Mm-hmm. So I thought from the time we first saw the Peter Strzok text message to his girlfriend about having to get ready because President Obama wants to know everything, I think from that point on, we have a real obligation for Congress to bring former Director Comey mm-hmm. back and put him under oath and say, now, did you in fact brief the president? What did he ask you about? Was you talk about obstruction of justice and presidents interfering in the system? This all just gets stranger. And I've told people, when I lived through Watergate, because I was a candidate for the first time as the Nixon administration disintegrated, things start to unravel, and then one thing pulls another thing, and then one morning you're in a space you never dreamed of because they just keep unraveling. And I think Susan Rice's memo is one more example of this thing gradually unraveling.
Well, this is, you have to remember, she said all of that about Benghazi and blamed it on the video, went on all those Sunday shows and lied to the American people about it. And then for this, the timing of this is so bizarre. Why do you think she wrote this memo 15 days after the meeting, notes from the meeting, and she kept saying in her notes to herself that the president insisted we do everything by the book? She used that phrase at least twice.
Well, I mean, I'm guessing that she had taken those notes and hadn't gotten around to it. And this is a guess, as a historian, that she had finally gotten around to it, had a few extra minutes, and thought she would capture it in a structured document.
As she's cleaning out her office?
That they were probably contemporaneous. Right. I think, exactly, no, literally, I think probably she came, I mean, I've had that happen to me. I'll have some piece of paper from a meeting, 3 weeks ago that I never quite got around to capturing in an email or putting into a file. And I'll sit down and write out. So it may well have been she was just tidying up. But it does look strange.
It's interesting you give it the benefit of the doubt. That's very nice of you. She has 9 more days to respond. I thought it's also very interesting when you have Senator Grassley and Senator Graham as concerned as anyone. They're not exactly zealot for Donald Trump. And don't you think if President Trump knew about this and knew how involved Comey was, he would have been fired on day 1, correct?
Sure. Well, yeah, of course. Look, if everybody understood that Comey began writing the Clinton exoneration 2 months before he interviewed her, he'd have been fired on day 1. If everybody understood that Comey was apparently changing the language to fit what the Attorney General told him so it was parallel to the Clinton campaign, he'd have been fired on day 1. You just go through what we've learned in the last 6 or 8 months about Director Comey, you realize this guy was totally in the tank, doing everything he could to protect Clinton and get Trump, and that he really, I think, has a huge potential legal problem.
Mr. Speaker, we want to also talk to you about a Fox News opinion piece you wrote about how SpaceX's Falcon rocket is a tremendous step toward reasserting American leadership in space. There you see it blasting off last week. It was something. We saw it live here on the channel as it separated and then came back down to land, 2 of the rockets. And then you've got, Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States with his budget yesterday talking about how maybe the International Space Station kind of goes semi-private or something else to have private industry involved in that. Explain why you wanted to write this particular op-ed.
Look, I think that the 2 great entrepreneurs who are rapidly changing space are Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. between Musk's operations, which have now had a remarkable string of successful launches and have really recaptured the commercial satellite market for the United States, and the progress being made by Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos' company, we're going to have 2 very large rockets available in the very near future. You just saw the first of them. The John Glenn for Bezos will be the second one. They're going to come in because I've been communicating with both companies. They're going to come in at, say, $100 million a launch because they're reusable. By contrast, the NASA long-term investment in what they call the Space Launch System comes in at over $1 billion a launch. So now you have the private sector able to compete at 10 to 1 in terms of, now, they're not quite as capable. So let's say you had to use 2 launches to match up the NASA rocket. The government rocket still is 5 times more expensive per unit in space than the private sector. The administration actually needs to be more aggressive than it has been in this budget. It should rethink every aspect of the NASA budget and should recognize that you have entrepreneurs creating a new world using new technology. You have bureaucrats who are stuck in an old world. And you have, of course, all the old-time lobbyists and contractors in Washington desperately trying to prop up the implausible. So I think it's a very big moment in space. I thought it was wonderful showmanship by Musk to put a Tesla with Starman in it and launch it out there so that and the reason is I have 2 grandchildren who are 16 and 18. I want them looking at that kind of a thing and saying, hey, I could be involved in space. I could have a career doing really cool things. And Musk did a great thing for America this week.
Astronauts were much bigger in the 70s, 60s, and 70s than they were now, and hopefully this next generation will get that sense. Newt, good point. Thanks so much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.